Hi, this is the, I don't know, fifth or sixth podcast we're having. Today's book we'll be talking about The Middle Daughter by Chika Unigwe. It's a Nigerian book, and I feel like it really resonates with Nigerian women and the struggles we go through. So let's get into it. Right. So the story is the protagonist of the story is a female called Nani, right? She's the middle daughter of this family, and the mom and dad they were like not really all that wealthy, but they were wealthy, and she grew up in a very loving home. She had her elder sister who she was closer in age to than her younger sister. Her younger sister's name is Ugo. I forget the elder sister's name. Anyway, the reason why I forget the elder sister's name is because the elder sister dies really early on in the book. Like, the parents send the elder sister off to school in America, like for her university, and she gets into an accident and she dies, which really, really opens up the plot of the book. So now the elder sister is dead. The parents can obviously see the dead body of their daughter, so all the burial preparations and everything are done over there in the US, and they make sure that she's probably buried over there, and that's the end of that. And then it really takes a toll on them in the house, especially the father. It really takes a toll on them, and they feel really, really, really hurt and terrible about it. So they came together as a family though to, you know, mourn together and everything. And they had a really, really cool maid called Auntie Enuka. Auntie Enuka was their mother's housekeeper, or rather like a living housemaid who helped bring them up. So she grew up with them. She grew up with them, and she has this kind of like, she looks at them as her own children. So when the elder sister died, she felt the pain as well, but she was there for Nani and Ugo, and it was really very, very wonderful just seeing the way she was there with them. And then after, after I think after they all got together, mourned together, and tried to move past the elder sister's death, not long after the father died. And Nani, being very close to her father, she calls him Doda. She being very close to her father, she felt so very pained, and she just lapsed into this state of, she didn't understand why everything was happening the way it was happening, and she felt so very, very terrible about it. And even though she felt terrible about it, she wasn't able to express this properly to her mom or her younger sister Ugo, because Ugo had already lost one sister already, and in the space of a year she was losing her dad too. There's something that grief just does to you. It numbs you towards feeling even more grief. You understand? So she wasn't able to. Ugo just took it in stride, and I have to continue. I have to live my life. And the reason why Nani could not express herself to the mother, because the mother was going through her own. Okay, she's lost her husband. She needs to secure the properties and everything. The husband's family is coming. Even one of them even came around and was even like, oh, that on a normal occasion, if not for the improvement in Nigeria now, you're supposed to have married her, inherited her, married her, and inherited the brother's properties as well. And the mom was like, I know you're not talking to me. It's not me you're talking to. Anyway, so she had to take up the mantle and continue the father's businesses and whatnot and everything. And she opened up a hospital, but this hospital she opened up really was, I don't want to say it's a very bad thing, but she went into this market, this baby marketing, where a teenager could come and be like, oh, I'm pregnant. It's illegal. You understand? But that's what she was doing. So she literally sell these babies to new families. She place them in new families. You understand? She take the babies from these teenage women who do not want the children, and then she placed them in families. So So the hospital was basically for where those teenagers can come and stay pending when their pregnancy would be due, and then once they have the child, they give it to her, and then she pays them off, and then they go, and she places the children in new homes with women who actually want said children. Very illegal thing to be done, but she was doing it. And because she was doing all these things, the mother was doing all these things, so she didn't really have time to watch Nanny and Ugo. So Nanny, feeling bad and sad that nobody is here caring for me or caring about this grief I'm feeling, you understand? So she feels so bad, she doesn't have anyone to open up to, and then comes in Ephraim. Now, Ephraim meets her, you understand, like he passes through her area, through their estate, and happens to see her, and he's like, oh, a very nice target, her parents are rich and everything, so obviously, if I somehow trick her into marrying me, you get, when she marries me, I would eat out of her parents' money. So that was the plan Ephraim had when he approached her, but she did not know. She always looked at Ephraim as, because Ephraim gave up this persona of, I'm a pastor, I love Jesus, I do this, I do that. So he brought that religion thing to her, and she'd know, because she didn't really have anybody to talk to or sit down with, she'd listen to him, she'd give him opportunity to talk and whatnot. So that was how it was, really. So they would sit down together, they would talk for a while and everything. And then she started, complaining about her mom to Ephraim and all of that. And then, from there, she and Ephraim started having this friendship. She never looked at Ephraim as someone she could get married to, but she always saw Ephraim as someone, she could relate to and talk to. So that was basically like what the beginning of her relationship with Ephraim. And then one day Ephraim is like, okay, you know what? You come, let's go for a video, prayer stuff, Christian life, let's go for a little video. So she's like, okay, but how long will this video be, And Ephraim's like, oh, it will end around 12, maybe 1 in the morning. And she's like, okay, do you know what, I will tell the gateman, you understand, to hold the gate and stuff like that. She just wanted to defy her mom for the first time in her life. So she follows Ephraim. It doesn't go according to plan, because the meeting closes by 2 in the morning, and she cannot go back. And Ephraim comes up with this brilliant little idea. Ephraim is like, okay, you know what? Why don't you come to my house, and spend the night there? It's fine. Tomorrow morning, you go home. And she was like, it's not really safe. And Ephraim was like, oh, no, it's fine. Don't worry, So she gets into the car with Ephraim, right? And she goes to Ephraim's house. And, when she gets there, she sees this rundown, I don't even know how to. The best way to use is, when you're used to a certain life of luxury and then you're brought into poverty, that was the way she felt. But she was like, it's just for one night, I would manage, and then, the following day I would go home. And then, so he's like, okay, I will sleep in the parlor, you sleep in the room, you get. So she's like, okay, fine, no problem. And then she locks the door, and then she goes to bed. And then around 4, 5 in the morning, this boy walks into the room. She's like, oh, how did you open it? I said, oh, he has a spare key. She's like, okay, why are you in your boxers and why are you in the room with me? And since you've woken me up, thank you, don't worry, just step outside, let me dress up, and then I would leave. And he's like, no. And then he literally manhandles her and rapes her. Now, after he's raped her, he starts preaching to her about how this wasn't supposed to happen. It was the devil's plot and whatnot. And she's mad, and she's, her body literally shuts down. Okay, her brain shuts down. Every part of her is shut down. And she's just thinking in her head, like, what kind of thing is this? What kind of life is this? What am I supposed to do right now in this moment? And then, she decides, okay, she's going to go home. And then when she gets home, she cuts off contact with Ephraim. Ephraim keeps trying to contact her because Ephraim's plan is, it's coming together, all together for him at this point. He keeps trying to contact her, and she every time he comes around to see her, she's like, I don't know who that is, get him out of here. The hatred is there and everything. And then she's like, okay, you know what, I will just take my mom's advice, probably move to America or something. So she starts preparing for the CSAT, and then she finds out that she's pregnant. Now, this is where I believe that I really want us to understand something here, that is that in whatever situation you find yourself, even if you believe your parents would blame you, it is better you open up to your parents first. Because Nani had this irrational fear that she had disappointed her mother. She felt, oh, you know what, it's better for me to get an abortion, but I don't have anybody to help me handle this. She cannot tell Ugo that, Ugo, this is what happened. So she decides to go back to Ephraim. And when she gets to Ephraim to tell Ephraim that, oh, look, I'm pregnant, and look, I need to get rid of it. Please, let's get rid of it. Ephraim does the exact opposite. Ephraim tells her, you know what, there's no problem. You are going to have this baby, we are going to get married and all of that. And somehow, Ephraim somehow convinces her that is the best thing to do. And Ephraim takes her straight off immediately to a registry to get married. Now, Ephraim has taken her to go and get married in a registry without her parents' consent, without nobody's consent. He has married her. She starts living with him. She doesn't even take anything from home. She just moves into Ephraim's house and starts living with Ephraim. She can't cook, she can't clean, she can't do anything. Ephraim tries to teach her cooking, and because people started laughing at him about it, he proceeds to start beating her. You understand? So her life literally became a case of rape, beat, rape, beat, rape, beat. She has 1 kid, 2 kids, 3 kids. She has 4 kids for this man. Okay? And all along, all this man is thinking is that because now he has her, you understand, at some point her mom is going to want to see her and the grandkids, and from there, you understand, he would have the opportunity to make some money off her and the kids. You know, but her mom is like, you've left the house, there's nothing I can do, there's nothing I can do. So the mom just moves herself and Ugo out of the country, and then years down the line, you know, when she realizes she can't stand it anymore, because Ephraim would literally lock her in the house, refuse for her to go out, and he treated her really, really horribly. She wasn't allowed to send the kids to school, they weren't allowed to go out, they were always locked inside the house, could not go anywhere. The raping continued, the beating continued, you know, it didn't even matter whether she had kids or not, it continued. So one day he goes, okay, he's traveling, he'll be taking the kids with him, she should stay at home, and it was like as if the scales just fall from her eyes, and then she realized, you know what, I'm just gonna go. She remembers her younger sister's number, so she called her younger sister, like, I'm tired, I can't do this anymore, I want to leave. The sister says, okay, no problem. The sister sent her money to Western Union. She goes home, back to their house, but there's nobody there because there's nobody in the house. You know, the mom and the younger sister have left for America a long time ago, so there's nobody at home and everything. But she goes back to the house, and then the sister is like, okay, do you know what? You cannot stay here alone. Why don't I connect you with Auntie Enuka? That's their housemaid. So Auntie Enuka comes around, picks her up, they go to her house, and she finally opens up to Auntie Enuka that this is everything she's been through. She explains everything to Auntie Enuka, and Auntie Enuka, instead of blaming her or anything, Auntie Enuka is just like, she was very kind and, you understand, very understanding, and she wasn't pushy. She only asked her, what do you want? And she said, I just want to get myself and my kids out and far away from him. And Auntie Enuka is like, if that's what you want, then that's fine. You know, so Auntie Enuka contacts I think, was it the IG of police? Yeah, the Inspector General, and that one sends some of his men, you know, with them. So she goes back to the house when Ephraim is back. You know, the police arrest him, and then she tells the kids, you know, we're leaving. And then Ephraim is like very, very surprised, and Ephraim is like, what is going on, Nanny? I don't get. And I think that was my favorite moment in the entire series, in the entire book, where she looks at him and she goes, I'm free now. You know, you cannot lock me up again. You cannot keep me trapped in this life anymore. I'm free. You know, and so it was basically more of her finding herself, her realizing that if she had only trusted in the fact that her mom wouldn't hate her and her siblings wouldn't hate her, she wouldn't have been trapped for so many years with Ephraim, to the point where she had 4 kids with Ephraim. And it just goes to show you how you shouldn't be so very trusting of people that you meet during your downtimes, because Ephraim literally took advantage of her. And this story, I feel like as if would probably resonate with a lot of women, Nigerian women in particular, because maybe it wasn't when you were down, maybe it wasn't when you were sad or something, but at some point in your life, some man has probably tried to take advantage of you, and probably, you didn't, God just saved you or something. So I feel like as if this book really brought that out to the fore, and I really, really want to say that Chika Unigwe knows how to write. Like, oh God, I felt drawn into the story. I could resonate with the character. I could understand where she was coming from. I felt bad for her. I experienced her lows with her and her highs with her. I think this is a book that you would love to read. Maybe you, so please do check it out. The name is The Middle Daughter by Chika Unigwe. So please do check it out. It's very, very, very wonderful. See you next time.